Hi there, this is Mark and my friend Mike, and we're coming to you live from Linda Street on off of 19th here in the Mission. I know you're getting used to that. That's a different.
I know, it's all
flipping over.
backwards.
Yeah. And we're sitting against this cool mural that's behind us on Linda Street, and what is it? The Mission Playground, Mission Pool,
And park, yeah.
and park, tennis. I don't know if you can hear. There's a game going on over here, basketball. But it's Cinco de Mayo, and we're doing the reading together from The Golden Present, Daily Inspirational Readings by Sri Swami Satchidananda. And let's see what he put in here for the 5th of May. The topic, whoa, it's windy, is measure your words. I always recommend speaking with measured words, not going to the extremes of either complete silence or constant talking. Speak only when there is a need, and even then measure your words. Talking takes a lot of energy, and unnecessary speaking creates a lot of problems. You often make enemies by talking too much.
Occasionally, observing silence for a time is a great practice. Silence is golden. Silence saves. I would recommend that practice to everyone. Maybe we start with a little silence.
I know, it made me not want to say anything. One of the things that came up was thinking about a silent retreat that I was on in, I think it was last month. It's a 4-day silent retreat that was for participants to be silent, but as one of the teachers, I got to talk. But I know that the premise of that is to kind of like take a fast with words and with speaking. Oh boy, we have a little truck backing up towards us.
We'll be all right.
in our golden
go.
silence. All right, okay. But how I know useful that is to take that break and the habit of speaking, and what you notice when you do go to into silence and become quiet. I think we do forget how important that is because we're just so used to being able to activate with all of our devices, and whether it's texting or talking, it's still that output of stuff from our mind into communication.
Yeah.
What do you think of?
I think it's a great practice, one that I definitely should incorporate. I, being maybe Italian, I don't know, I got the gift of gab, self-professed, and I'm sure many people who know me would agree. And it's a good thing sometimes.
It's a good thing. I like it.
But definitely there are times when a little bit more listening or a little bit more introspection and maybe observation of thoughts. I find I often have thoughts, and let's say it's a thought that I'm worried about something, or I'm stressed, or something's causing me fear or uncertainty, and I find I really want to talk about it and talk about it with a lot of people, trying to get an answer. But sometimes the answers can't come from outside of yourself. So I think being quiet, being still, and observing the nature of your thoughts and not feeling the need to act on them or talk about them all the time could be a good practice, and could be a way to get the real answers.
So that means that you're trusting that there's some resource either within you or in some other realm that you can tap into, and that you've learned to do.
Yeah, I'd like to believe, and I think I've seen it happen for myself and in others, that most of the time we know the answers to the things that that we're not sure about, or that concern us, or that we have questions about. But a lot of times we look for validation, or we want somebody to give us the answer because that's an easier way, it seems.
Yeah, because then it's someone else's fault.
Well,
instead
there's
of-
that. Yeah, yeah. A good way to pin the blames elsewhere for sure. Um, and not doing the work to uncover what you probably already know.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like that's so much of what a meditation practice is about, or taking that time to be in meditation. It quiets all that the external noise. It allows all that to uh, slowly drift away, so that you see what you're left with, which is, yeah, more of that true self. It's kind of like I've heard it talked about like um, the pedal on a car. Once you push it, you have this momentum, and the car goes for a while, and then you have to let it go. The car will keep going for quite a while, but eventually it will come to stillness if you completely disengage from the pedal.
Mhm.
So it's like that with the thoughts. Like if we stop with the speaking and trying to figure things out and wrestle with our own minds, if we come to stillness, eventually insight comes. It's sort of a good example, but it just was more about coming to stillness.
I once was, I read an article about a guy who went to a 90-day silent retreat.
Wow.
And he kind of described that whole experience and what he got from it. And I think he said, like, for the first 60 days, he basically indulged, entertained, had every thought and every conversation he could have with himself. And it was kind of frustrating and difficult, because he didn't think that that's what he was supposed to be getting out of it. But then he got to the point where he'd kind of thought about, there was nothing left to think about, and he got to that place that he was really looking for out of the retreat and the experience, which was, just kind of calmness and acceptance and emptiness, which he found, very fulfilling. So, but he said he had to take like a good chunk of that 90 days to like purge all the thoughts first and go through that whole encyclopedia.
Right. Well, I think there's so much value that we put on our thoughts, and we think that that's who we are. But that is what the yogis recognize, is that in order to get deeper into understanding our true self, we have to learn how to disengage with all this external stimulus that tells us who we think we should be, or stories that we've created of who we think we are. But that takes a while to really unwind all of that, to see that there's actually something deeper and more of a constant source of happiness and peace that actually is within us. Not that we have to ever go try to find. And I think that's what we do. Like most of our lives with our goals and ambitions, we're trying to figure out how to find the happiness, find the peace in life. And it's sort of like, what is it, the Wizard of Oz, is always there. But we have to go running. And I think we do. We just have to go off to the Yellow Brick Road to kind of figure our stuff out. And I think we meet the wizard, and really it's what we always wanted was there. It also makes me think about that book, The Four Agreements, Don Miguel
Mhm.
Ruiz. And
Sure.
I know the first one is to be impeccable with your word, which is, I think, early on in what Swami Satchidananda was talking about, was about the importance of our words. And I remember learning, those four agreements some time ago, and I really liked that one, to recognize that a lot of times we are just spewing out stuff that's not useful or damaging even, or harmful.
Yeah.
And is there a way we can use language to help express our true selves rather than, our ego that's
Yeah. Stories
upset?
that we're told. I mean, a lot of our thoughts are, external in origin. They come from, just growing up and learning, school, or parents, or what you see on TV or read on Facebook or whatever it might be. And I know I fall victim to believing them and following them and thinking that they apply to me, and I have to do things a certain way because that's what I was told, or what I see around me. But that's a compass, and it can provide insight and help, but it's not always your truth. It's not always what you need, and got to have a little faith that you can find it from within, which is scary.
It's
Can be.
scary, and and it's difficult. You know, I think we do fumble along because there's so much that can distract us, and it's like even doing these shares. I mean, I'm just, this is a non-edited one-shot take, and I often hope I get to a point of getting to the point. But it often is kind of this fumbling process, which is part of what I'm learning as I do this, and not to judge myself too much or ourselves too much when we feel like we're doing something that's distracting us, or saying things that are aren't from our truest self.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why we need to come back to the quiet, because then we kind of reflect and review, and I tend to do that after I do these shares. And I'm like, oh man, why did I say? But it's just, that's how these are.
Yeah, maybe Swami Satchidananda would tell us today that we're talking too much about the reading.
He's like,
He's like, just hang
Well,
out
in
and
fact-
enjoy the nice day, and be quiet and
well, maybe you just told us. I like it. We can see that in one another. Well, I hope that these words were useful and not too much. And I'm really happy that I had my good friend Mike, who I've known for, what did we say, like
I don't know,
14 something
a
maybe
long
years,
time, yeah.
to share this with me. So I hope for more of these, and
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.